Okay, it's actually 5:33, and it's October 17th. It's the Ayer Board of Health. And the first on our agenda is we're continuing the public hearing, and it's a request for a special permit under the Aquifer Protection District Health Regulations. It's for 41 East Main Street. So we'll have Neil come up, and we left off at a long meeting and we really needed to. I think it was becoming a little bit kind of redundant. We were asking the same kind of questions and going over. So we, just for while you're getting set up there, Neil, for a quick synopsis. So the property we're talking about is 41 East Main Street. So if I'm standing on East Main Street, it is a large multi-family home on the right-hand side. The house is unusual in that the front door looks out at East Main Street. There's on my left-hand side, there's a driveway that goes in from Pond Street. And then there's another access that comes out onto Oak. So it's an unusual piece of property. And if we look right there from where you are, it kind of juts out there in the back towards
there is no access.
Yeah, there's no driveway in from Pond.
There's no driveway?
No.
The only driveway is off of Oak Street.
Okay, so how do they get in? So they have to drive all around and then come in?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oak Street is a one-way, so some other way to get back and then come
All
down
right.
Oak Street, yes.
Okay, my mistake on that, all right. So,
And what do you want to go through quickly what the proposed is as well?
and we had at the first night of the public hearing, we had the planning board chairman here, and he had a lot of things that he wanted to say, and that was fine, but that still has nothing to do with what we're doing here, because this is under our health district regulation.
We agree.
So if you, okay, good.
I believe the town engineer was here as well, Mark Wenzel.
Yes,
Yep,
he was.
he was here.
Yes, and he had submitted, because we sent the proposal around for all the various boards to raise any objections, have any questions, and he should be the one that would question stuff, because water and sewer, driveways in, all that. And you did respond to a lot of what he said, so go ahead, Neil.
I believe Mr. Wenzel had said that the new drainage calculations provided met the standards that he required or expects. So, so what we are proposing, the existing structure is a 3-family dwelling. We're going to reduce that to 2-family dwelling, and then construct 2 new separate 2-family dwellings.
Okay.
So ultimately, there'll be 6 dwellings on the lot. The 2 new dwellings will be served by driveways coming in off of Pond Street. The existing structure that's 2 families will still be.
Chair back, just
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
sure.
all right.
Yep.
That's fine.
Will be served by the existing driveway, but in a modified form, trying to reduce the amount of impervious area. So the new impervious area are the 2 new structures, the 2 new driveways, and the modified or reduced sized impervious area of the existing driveway. So as this site currently sits right now, the runoff constitutes a 1.79 cubic feet per second runoff. Our drainage calculations show with what we're proposing for new drainage structures for the new proposed construction will actually be less runoff. It will be at 1.49 CFS. So we're improving the drainage on the site by upwards of 16% from its current condition right now. So even with all the new impervious we're creating, we are making the runoff situation better within this district. Those calculations are based on the soil testing and the soil mapping of that site, which is a hydrologic soil group of A. The percolation test we performed out there proved that. It was the water, we couldn't keep it in there, it just kept going. And the deep observation hole that we performed out there proved that we didn't have any groundwater estimated to the bottom of our hole, which was at least 8 feet deep. So we don't have any signs of groundwater issues, and the soils out there are very receptive to water. The site is somewhat flat, basically fairly flat on the property. So proposed part of the drainage, which is on this sheet number 3 of the revised plan, shows that we have proposed trenches for the roof drip of the new structures, which have a 4-inch perforated pipe at the bottom of those trenches that then divert the water out to Cultec chamber infiltration trenches beyond the building. So there's one for each one. So this one goes to right here, this one goes to here, this one goes to here, and this one goes to here. And those chambers there are a couple of the Cultec chambers, which as we discussed last week, are plastic chambers, look like an upside down U that sit in crushed stone. The total depth of those chambers in stone equals 2.5 feet, because there's 6 inches of stone, the chamber's 12.5 inches tall. 1.5 feet tall, and then another 6 inches of stone on top of that. Then some soil. So those are subsurface. These stone trenches along the foundation are 3 feet wide, and they run the length of the building. In addition, for the stormwater runoff of the proposed driveways, we're proposing a rain garden, which is located in between the two proposed driveways. And all those calculations as to what they can handle for those 2 driveways are all in the calculations, which again, if in a 100-year storm, the depth of this would equal a total height of an elevation of 247.64. The top of the rain garden is 248, so we have even some room to spare in the rain garden in the event of a 100-year storm. Just double check yep, 247.64. The infiltration trenches along the building are 2 feet deep. In a 100-year storm, they would fill up at its peak rate at 1.86 feet. So again, we're not completely maxed out on those as well. The infiltration trenches, since they are connected to those do get full in a 100-year storm, but again, they have the backup into the other trenches. So again, we are not proposing anything in particular for the existing structure. As we discussed last week and in past times, the existing structure has a slate roof, and attaching gutters to those with the ice that would slide off those slate roof as they're supposed to would wipe out those gutters. So we did not propose anything for the existing structure. Again, we have really good soils out there. Whatever hits is going to disperse into the sandy areas. There's a large lawn area here. All around the existing building, there's quite a bit of existing lawn area. The proposed driveway, we do have going into a designed grass swale in between Oak Street and this large 5-foot diameter. What kind of tree is that, Mark? Beech tree. And the purpose of that is that tree is beautiful. We don't want to lose that tree. And if we were to dig down any deeper to create some kind of subsurface infiltration, we're going to get into the roots there, and it's not going to be helpful for that tree. And that tree is going to be right near that swale. I'm sure it's going to absorb quite a bit of that water. The proposed design does not show or does not allow any of the water created on this runoff from the site to go out into any town right-of-ways or roads. Everything is maintained on the site. So the way the driveways are proposed, the way the site is graded, we're not expecting any runoff to go out into any town stormwater system. So everything's maintained on site. So with that, we feel we're meeting the Aquifer Protection District requirements of providing protection within this district to a standard of a 100-year storm. And we provided all those calculations throughout. So again, we know we still have to go through a site plan review. We have submitted that information since their last planning board meeting, so the chairman should be aware of that. That was here that week. And again, to reiterate what Mark had mentioned last week, the town engineers, that he reviewed all the calculations and they meet his requirements and standards 100%. He's okay. So.
And I think that we got so involved in that whole discussion that we got off track a little bit.
Correct.
That our goal, our only responsibility is special permit, the Aquifer Protection District health regs. Everything else that they talked about, you need a bond, you need this or that, not our job.
I agree.
Not our job whatsoever.
You agree?
Absolutely.
So,
Again, there is a maintenance plan provided. I did bring one with the corrected address. We had the wrong, we had 44 East Main Street
I
instead
know
of
that,
41.
yeah.
So there is, I'll submit this copy to you. I think
Is
you
it-
got a copy recently anyways.
It's the same
It's the same data,
content
it's
as
just
the
to
other
change
one?
the,
Okay.
change the address to match correctly. But again, there is a maintenance program in there. Some of the questions are how all that's gonna be maintained. Well, this is gonna end up being a condo association, there's gonna be condo bylaws, there's gonna be a board, you know, president, secretary, so on involved in that. They're gonna be responsible for all this, so.
and again, that doesn't come under us.
Correct.
That is
We're proving
not-
to you that we're
And I
protecting the water.
appreciate that. But I think in the whole long discussion
I
last
agree.
week, it just kind of got off.
Things evolve.
Well, it is easy, and everybody has their things to do, and that's fine, but all that other stuff they can take up at the proper boards and
Thank you.
everything. That's their job to worry about that. Ours is just, does this meet what we have for our regs? Pam is reading, so
No, I'm reviewing,
that's okay, go right ahead.
okay.
Any further questions for Neil?
No, I don't think so. My main question was, whether anything had changed in the body of the maintenance, operation and maintenance plan, and it did not, so, okay.
I know you had a lot of questions at first, so I wanted to make sure that you were satisfied with everything.
No, I am. I think I understand what the objective is here and how we're trying to mitigate. So, I think I've got the information that I need.
Where, Neil, would you put any construction dumpsters or anything on while you're doing the work?
I mean, there's adequate space on the opposite side, on the Oak Street side of the existing dwelling.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Where would dumpsters be placed during
While you're
construction?
doing construction, where would dumpsters be?
I would say right between the building or where the rain garden's gonna go, and then it'll get, the rain garden is one of the last things that will get built after the, I don't know what.
Yeah, the
what
site
order.
grading and everything, right?
Yeah, so, the dumpsters, wherever there's room, and the people in the neighborhood don't wanna use it.
Well, I mean, that's always a question we asked. You remember that, Pam? We asked it
Yeah.
on a couple of other projects that were down in that area. Where
Yeah.
are they going to be, and how often they were going to be empty,
When they're
et
full.
cetera. Yeah, I mean,
And
I understand
depending on what
it-
stage of construction you're at. I mean,
Yeah, right, absolutely, there's a number of factors.
Sheet rockers
that-
go in there, they fill it up pretty quick, but,
Mhm.
There's quite a bit of room still left there. I mean, we're
Behind the buildings, they could come in and out off of Main
through
Street.
there. Again, the infiltration of drainage structures will be the last thing constructed based on, you want those things run over by heavy equipment, so. There'll be, if you look at that picture without all those drainage features like this one, there's quite a bit of open space still. Over 50% of the lot is still open space, so. See, there's plenty of room between the three structures right in there in the middle of the lot.
Yeah.
Accessible with the truck.
Is the last thing you're gonna do, Neil, the current three-family?
Yes.
So somebody will be moving out of that three-family?
I have to.
Yeah, okay. I just wondered how that was going, if that was gonna be the last thing or the first thing you were gonna be
Last
doing.
thing.
Okay. Patricia, do you have any questions there?
I don't. I'm, like I said, I always look to Pam for how to interpret a lot of these blueprints and whatever, and if all the calculations add up, which were worried about last time, the last few times, and if it's not going to affect the aquifer.
That's our job.
That's our
Everything
job.
else is,
Right.
the others can
Right.
argue and do whatever they want. That's
Yeah.
their job. It's not ours.
Yeah, I guess so. This is not really a question, although you can feel free to answer it, as I'm sure you will. I'm very, very concerned about this plant from an aquifer protection standpoint. And my primary reason for that is that our regulation, really the primary objective of it is the aquifer and protection of the aquifer. And my concern here is that in order for, I understand the nature of theoretical calculations, and of course they have to be in place before any practice can really flow from that. But my concern is that in order for this whole thing to work properly, there's quite a bit of operation and maintenance that has to take place. And that's detailed in your own operation and maintenance plan, where you say that these are the efforts necessary to ensure that the site operates in accordance with the DEP. There are monthly inspections that are required, quarterly at a minimum. There is a requirement here for sweeping the paved surface by means of a vacuum truck if sand, sediment, or other materials are detected on those surfaces. The rain garden has plantings in it that need to remain alive and viable. And with a summer like we had this summer, I don't know that that would always be the case. I mean, I lost some, not just new, but established plantings in my own garden that I was really surprised that I lost them. I thought they were more resistant than they are. And really if this were an owner-occupied situation, or even a situation where someone were going to remain as the landlord and therefore would be an individual that would be charged with making sure that all of these pieces line up properly, my concern would not be as great as it is now. However, we're talking about a condo association that hasn't been formed yet. I checked the average time in Ayer that condos have remained on the market before they've been sold. And if you try to do an average, I mean, it peaks up and down every month, but if you try to do an average over, I looked at data from the beginning of 2014 through September of 2016, looks like it averages out to about 90 days. So that's 3 months of inspections and maintenance. That number reached a high of 175 days in May of 2015. So now you have almost a 6-month period where potentially there's nobody in one of those condos. This is not, I'm not trying to denigrate the quality of the condos that you're putting in there, but in my opinion, with the way these condos are situated and the parking situation and the narrowness of Pond Street, it strikes me that these might not be, if I were out to buy a condo, might not be the first one I would buy in here. Because it has a lot of, they seem to have a lot of negatives. I don't know about the condos in the main house, maybe those would go a little faster. So I feel like we're putting a lot on the line for something that we don't really know how or how well or even if the necessary maintenance is going to happen. And I'm not eager to jump into a situation where we put the town of Ayer in some sort of a policing capacity where, you know, we need to verify. We did talk about a bond at one point, and that's an area where I think that what Charlie Schultz was talking about was a bond for the cost of doing this maintenance and how that should be tied to any aquifer permit in the event that this maintenance doesn't happen and the town has to take it over in order to assure that this whole plan is working properly. But that's only part of the problem. That means the money to do the activities are there, but still someone has to police it and has to administer it. So when I look at all of those potential negatives, and I balance that against protection of the aquifer and look at the aquifer regulation in its entirety, and I try to think about whether the intent of that regulation and the ability to offer a special permit was really intended more to allow what I would call kind of an extreme build-out of a lot, as opposed to offering a homeowner some relief in terms of what they can do with their own property and their own residence. Given all of that, I don't currently feel that we've really met that, you know, burden of proof of the board being satisfied that this is enough evidence, you know, to demonstrate that there isn't going to be any negative effect on the aquifer.
So if I understand what you're saying, your feeling is that because of the maintenance that's required, it may undermine the capability of the system.
Yeah, I think that because there's so much development there, if you'd have more of a margin of error to work with if you perhaps only had one of these,
But
you know,
isn't the
2
intent of the Massachusetts Stormwater Protection Guidelines to provide for extreme build-out, as you may have termed it, that the capability of how this has been set up, and we've bowed over every time you've asked us to come back. We've gotten buy-in from the superintendent, the engineer here. So it seems that all of what has been required both by the town and by the state has been more than met, if not exceeded. I understand your concerns, and let's hope and make sure, and by deed it has to be written into the condo documents that this is their responsibility. So to preempt the people that are going to live there and say they're not going to do this is really kind of an unfair step forward without, I'm the one that's taking the financial risk. The town is being protected by 100-year storm calculations. There seems to be several things in place that we've got to hope for the best. People do, and people will hopefully act in the best way that serves both their property as well as the town itself. So I don't see where there's let's call it a technical platform for saying that this doesn't work, but there is. All the technical guidelines, I believe, have been clearly met and exceeded.
Everybody looks at a slightly different piece of the puzzle in this review and getting different people to review. We certainly do rely on DPW to give us some of the civil engineering knowledge to
Is there
say, yeah, this is
anything
going
from
to work.
a technical standpoint that you can point to that has been oversighted by the DPW and the engineers that have the?
Nope. It's the wing and a prayer feel that this has of all of your good calculations are for naught if the maintenance doesn't.
But the maintenance
Take place.
is in the deeds and it's outlined.
And that's with any project, whether you're building a
Absolutely.
Target, supermarket, parking lot.
Yep,
It all comes down to the maintenance and who's responsible for the maintenance.
That's right.
Even if Mr. Smith buys a home, I mean, I drive by a home every day in my hometown,
yep,
and the Board of Health finally had to send a letter, like, get a dumpster and put all your trash in it.
yep.
So there are gonna be complaints if something's not working from an abutter or a neighbor or passerby. And
It's-
you'll catch wind of it, and then the Board of Health, it's not that you're
Well-
policing it, but that's under your jurisdiction to follow along. So
I think it's unlikely
these
that,
measures are in place in advance of that.
I think it's unlikely that an abutter is going to make a complaint because the paved surfaces have not been swept by a vacuum truck. That's not the sort of thing that typically generates abutter complaints.
But if the
So,
owners are aware of what's required to make their drainage systems work properly, it's in their own interest to make sure that plants are viable in the rain garden, that debris is swept up, monthly and then inspected quarterly. I mean, the guidelines are ironed out or, spelled out pretty clearly. As rigorous as they are, they're far from insurmountable.
it comes down to a risk determination, I think. So what we're balancing is if we look at whether or not there's a likelihood that all of this maintenance.
Right, we can't
There is
predict that.
always a likelihood, and
Let me ask you this.
I feel
I'm-
your concern.
I'm not looking to get the risk down to 100%.
It's close.
No, it's not.
Let me ask
I'm-
you this.
Sure.
Like a condo association, you can have 6 separate parties that are part of that association
Mhm.
versus one landlord. Now, if I was one of the condo owners of those 6 and the property wasn't being maintained, you have a direct authority to go right to that association. If you just have a landlord, we know the troubles of.
If we have a landlord, we have one person.
You'll have one
We
person,
know where
condo
they live.
association president.
If we have a condo association, a lot of things can happen to condo associations. They can dissolve, they can reorganize, you can have a couple of empty units,
But
and they
isn't this
say,
again
no,
out of
this
our
isn't fair.
jurisdiction?
No, it's not. It's not, because this operation and maintenance plan has to work in order for your calculations to be correct.
But that's what the guidelines, as I understand, the Massachusetts laws and even what your engineer has said is acceptable is outlined here for us to say, here's an existing site, we're over on some of these issues, we've made these site more water receptive and retentive than it was before we might build.
Yeah, no, I
And
understand.
now, there's some maintenance guidelines, and these are outlined by the state, we didn't make them up.
Mhm.
So now, look, this is written into the deed, I don't know what else can really be done.
I don't think there are any maintenance-free.
Let me see
drainage.
if I can speak
Sure.
to this.
Yes,
So I
absolutely.
think what your concern is, okay, there's going to be 6 units here.
Yeah,
You've studied everything in the town, all right, so everything is built, and people move into one unit, and the others are empty.
right.
Who is going to be following everything, because you've only got one sold, correct? So there's no association, that's your concern?
Yep.
Okay.
That's my concern. I have concerns about whether, the association, is indeed going to follow through on these things, and us, the amount of verification that we might have to put in place in order to confirm that. I know that we'd all like to live in a world where we can just tell one another this is what has to be done, and you're a responsible person, and I'm a responsible person, and we're both gonna do it.
Yeah, I have a sewage disposal system at home. I'm putting sewage in the ground every day. I'm not
Yeah.
out there monitoring it every month, but it's my responsibility, and if I don't take care of it, it's gonna be an impact to the environment, but.
Absolutely.
And I don't have, I have the general maintenance program in my, if I want to be a property owner and I don't want to spend another $25,000 on a leach field, I'm going to take care of it. And the same thing goes with this. I mean, if they don't take care of it, they're going to be rebuilding it, and it's going to be an expensive endeavor. I don't think there's any way you can put a safety net, 100% safety net.
But the kinds of things that we're asking them to do, when you have sewage backing up in your yard.
Not necessarily, no. I mean, later on, but
You eventually know.
at
Or
some
you may be
point,
more
but how
likely
many
to
months
know.
or years after real contamination has taken place? We're getting off the track,
Yeah,
but.
I mean, okay, I buy a condo, I do or don't do the maintenance, I flip it in 9 months, somebody else takes it. I think our aquifer is too important. Air is too small a town size-wise in terms
Okay.
of
But
land.
this isn't even a commercial site, it's.
I didn't say it was a commercial site.
No, I know you didn't, of course, but what I'm trying to say is that we've made it actually 15 or 16% better. We've got guidelines that help us to maintain the condition of the proposed drainage system.
Mhm.
I'm still not sure what,
I think I might be able to add something, if you don't mind.
no, go for it.
Again, part of this is his ability to build these number of units on this size property is a zoning issue, per se. He's not building these out of the zoning requirements for the town. The zoning requirements allow him to build these structures
That's
by
fine.
right, per the zoning requirements. The zoning requirement for this district requires that it has to have at least 50% open space, which he meets.
Mhm.
So again, for zoning purposes, yes, he meets all those criteria. So
Yep.
for then the Board of Health to then say you can't build 2 units when we're meeting all the requirements of your aquifer protection bylaw, then it's an injustice to the property owner. if
Our
he's discriminating against-
He made it, actually, Neil just reminded me again that by all of the requirements of what's been put forth, again, I'm sounding repetitive, I don't know what else there is for us to do. We've put forth the maintenance requirements in the deed. The condo association is gonna be the one that manages it. Those are state guidelines, and we have a town engineer that has been through this several times, understands what we've done. We've been more than, interested in trying to make this work for everybody, and I don't know,
Yep.
if you have a recommendation of what else, we should do, by all means, put it forth.
I don't think we can predict the real estate market. We know that. I mean,
One thing I think you can do is to cut down that just amount of impervious surface.
We're within the requirements. though.
No, you're not. The requirement is 15%.
No, it's an if-then statement. If greater than 15%, then you have to provide these recharge things,
No.
which we've done. Yes.
If greater, you must have a special permit. Special permit will be granted if, in the SPGA's opinion, sufficiently detailed, definite, and credible information to support positive findings in relation to the standards given in this section.
Our findings,
That-
we're 16% better than without any construction right now for runoff. We leave it there right now as is.
I know those are your findings. That's what you've presented to us.
Fair enough, okay.
I completely get that.
Okay. just
I
reminding you, that's all.
absolutely get
Okay.
that. I absolutely get that.
I'm
I'm
done.
saying that there's just, in my opinion, and I'm not the entire board, these
Right.
ladies
No.
may have their own opinions. My opinion, there's too much riding on a wing and a prayer.
No, I don't have any more to add. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're at a point where there's opinions and there's,
I mean, I think that there may be some compromises that we could make with, cutting down amount of impervious surface, using permeable pavers. You made the point in the last meeting that you think permeable pavers are actually worse because they clog up. So,
Well,
I
it's
don't
a
know, maybe
cost
that's not
thing.
an option.
again, there's more than one type of way of treating.
And then even an
Runoff.
impervious paver, if it's pitched greater than a certain percentage, in a rainstorm, it runs off. We've even pitched driveways to divert all the water. Let's say there is a dripping car, there's oil, I mean, it's a system by the nature of the rain garden is meant to botanically or biologically, I should say,
Yeah.
purify that.
Yeah.
This is actually a better system. We've
No, I know, and I think the
go through the
engineering,
evolution of where we've been over the last
I
5
just-
months. And
I think the engineering is good. My argument really, or my concern isn't really with the engineering, and that's why you've got the DPW support for
With
it.
all due respect, what's been put forth is guidelines that are set forth by the technical side of our world. Yours is a human concern, which I understand, but it's not a reason to say this isn't a project that shouldn't maybe be granted its special permit. Because if I understand, you're hesitating because you're concerned about that maintenance component.
I am concerned about the maintenance program. To tell you the truth, I'm honestly a little concerned, if you really want to go into the details, that your own maintenance program says that this should be, the results of all of this should be reviewed after the first, routinely inspected and reviewed to ensure that conditions are suitable for its operation. What if they're not? I mean, it's like, it's a plan that you've put out there that in paragraph 2 says, after a year, we need to look at this and make sure it's suitable.
To make sure the plantings are growing and to make sure
Right.
things are stable.
So
That's
yourself that there's a
standard.
lot of
I mean,
things.
that's
That's
what
the
even
normal
with,
course of any drainage system. It needs to be, okay, this is built, it rained, doesn't work.
a permit we get from conservation says the same thing, let's wait for a
Yeah.
growing season, so.
No, I
You can condition your
completely,
special permit to include that's not a problem, but that's with anything that grows, that you need to make sure that those bushes are alive and stable, and that can certainly be part of your permit. We're just mentioning as an idea in our program.
no, I know that, and personally, I have a great deal of sympathy for you, because I really do feel that you should be able to do what you want to with your own land. I mean, I personally believe very strongly in that. The hat that I have to wear here is Board of Health with an aquifer regulation. And weighing those two, and weighing whether or not this entire plan really meets this level of sufficiently detailed, definite, and credible information. The town's been burned more than once by properties
Who
that,
provided you the misinformation that you're feeling uncomfortable with? Or I should say, not
There's
who,
been
but
no
what is it that's been
misinformation.
provided that doesn't give you that comfort?
the likelihood that the operation and maintenance plan, as you've described it, is actually going to be followed with the rigor that it needs to be to make sure that all of the underlying calculations do indeed protect the aquifer.
That is with every drainage plan ever engineered.
Yep.
I mean, even
Yeah,
your
I
own
understand
town roads have
But
to
is there
be,
anything
catch
else,
basins have to be cleaned. I'm
is
sorry.
there anything else that can be added to a maintenance plan to make it more, I mean, like how,
Well,
how more, I mean,
I think
how
that,
far down the
see, I
road do you
think this
go
is the
with
thing, I
that?
think you are at such a hairy edge here with the amount of surface. You know,
Can I ask you this? then?
15
In your regulation,
to 41%.
is there a specific year storm that has to be met in your regulations?
No,
Okay, we're at a 100-year storm.
that's right. You are.
I mean, this whole program started with, can you handle an annual rainfall event? Yes, and then we produced a 10-year report, and that seemed to be insufficient. Now we're up to a 100-year, and now we're still at an insufficient, so.
You're not
In some opinions. not
right,
all.
but you're not insufficient so much as it's a different issue, really.
Again,
It's a different
There's no
issue.
such thing as a maintenance-free system. So there's always going to be maintenance no matter what is proposed, even if it's for one building and that requires some maintenance. There's
Yeah.
maintenance involved in it.
Neil, as I understand, or I think I understand it, if this project is completed and only 2 units are sold,
Mhm.
then it falls on the owner.
Current property owner, right? Until it's all transferred over to that association, there is a current
So
owner.
we have 6 units sold and the association formed, that's.
That's when it's formed.
Yeah, usually it's at 2/3, which would be the 4.
Okay.
So who would we,
So there is no condo association until it's full,
2/3 full.
2/3 full.
Until that's in place, and that's all legally put in place with documentation.
But the documents first need
Get
to still
recorded.
be drafted and recorded as
Absolutely.
an
And provided to
individual
you.
title is transferred to an individual condo owner, of which I'm still a condo owner of, say, 2 of those buildings with 4 new ones. 4 new owners.
And all that information gets recorded. Once those bylaws are in place, that gets recorded, it has to be all legal documents. It's all official.
regardless of who, really is heading the condo association, who forms the condo association, I guess my question then would be, who would be charged with this, monthly review and verification that these actions, have been done? That's what I don't want to put the town in the position of having to,
It's
devote
part of the
resources to
condo
that.
association, they police themselves. There's no other entity that's gonna, do this, and it's, there's dust on the driveway, there's viability of the plant material, and then there's sediment that can be captured both in the rain garden, but also there's gonna be cleanouts built into the infiltration trenches for inspection. So there's although the guidelines are exhaustive, the steps that are involved in maintaining this are not. I understand them, and I wouldn't have agreed, but if I was a layman and looked at this, I'd be like, oh my God. But, I install these sorts of systems myself, I maintain them.
yeah.
This is not rocket science, nor is it expensive or difficult to do. So you have to have maybe a landscape team that understands, don't blow dust and crap into the rain garden. Keep the stuff that's on the driveway swept up and broomed up. These driveways are only 20 by 20. They're not huge, 400 square feet. That's half of a good-sized apartment, easy enough to do. And then the inspection of the infiltration trenches, that's important. But it's the amount of sediment that's working its way into those that's gonna lose the porosity of them. So where that really starts is with what's on top, what's on the surface,
Yep.
keeping that out. And if steps 1 and 2 are done, the rain garden and the surfaces, the rest of it will function.
If I may add, the majority of those infiltration trenches are coming from roof runoff, which is, what degree is, there isn't gonna be sand and salt on the roof.
Yeah. No, it's not,
So it's the rain garden and the overflow to the rain garden, which has been added in,
Yeah.
there's an overflow. And again,
Yeah.
that can easily have a vertical inspection board that can be opened at the surface and observed. And again,
it's a tough one, because I don't feel like I can really give you a specific thing that will make this work. It's, at least with the plan the way it is, it becomes a matter of are we essentially going to turn over the protection of this little piece of the aquifer recharge to a condo association? And whether that's, something we feel comfortable as a board doing or not.
I guess, does it line up with what the town's intentions are for this zone? I mean, do they want homes built in this area? What's the master plan? I mean, it seemed like the
That we don't
planning
even
board.
know here, so I think it's.
That's a whole nother
To
problem, yeah.
discuss Pam's question, is this what you guys want to, feel is, a sensibly designed project?
I mean, I really think even if you were an individual homeowner, I live in the aquifer district too, and I know a lot of this stuff pinches. It really does. It pinches you one way or the
I
other.
mean, thank
Either-
God you guys have been able
you
to
know.
step forward and bring us to this level of compliance.
I think that if you somehow cut down the amount of impervious surface by just do one of these two, I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do. You're the developer. Do one of these 2 units. Do, one unit maybe that has 3. It's just that I can't see us telling even an individual homeowner who comes to us and says, I want to go from 15% to 41% impervious surface in this area. And you gotta trust me. You gotta trust me that I'm gonna do this whole list of things.
But even if we cut down on the amount of impervious surfaces, that's not gonna change the fact that it needs to be maintained. It's also not gonna change the fact that we've improved the water permeability directly on the site with no runoff by 15% for a 100-year storm.
You've
I
only
don't know what else we
improved it.
can-
You've only improved it if it's maintained
But
in
the
correct
guidelines
working
are
order.
here. I mean, we keep going in a circle.
Go ahead.
I don't know, we're going in a circle, and
Does
so,
the other members have any similar concerns that,
by that argument, just to add one last thing, by that argument, we really don't need a police department, because there are laws against committing crimes, and there are laws against speeding, and laws that say you have to stop at stop signs, so. That's the perfect, imperfect world we
Yeah,
live in,
it's a truth.
yeah. I know.
I mean, this is a well-designed, we've done everything you guys have asked, it's over, and you've got buy-in from the DPW and the engineers. Everything's been done, except for giving the faith that the maintenance is gonna be, and we deserve that right.
Faith.
I have I admit to knowing very little. I've learned a lot just every time you've come in and you've shown us how you've, made it better each time, and that's great. I do have questions, as Pam does, about the maintenance piece, but I don't know how to make that any better on paper. I mean, and is that something that can be made better on paper without a condo association? It's like a promissory note that, yes, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, or whatever, will be done to protect the aquifer if you don't have 2/3 of the population that you expect to be, in these condos.
Either
So
way, it still falls to the owner until the condo
Right.
association has majority.
Right, but if there, like you said, if there is no set in stone, I do understand that. So I'm kind of, and that is our job, is to protect the aquifer.
It's our
Yes.
job, and we've sent around everything. We asked for opinions. I think we got them. We either do or don't on this permit. After that, it becomes everybody else's responsibility. And whatever the planning board does, or whatever considerations they put, what the building inspector does, and I have a lot of confidence in Charlie, and he lives right around the corner, so I do have confidence that in him. So, and while I understand some of what you're saying, Pam, unfortunately, and I've lived a long time, it's not a perfect world.
Right.
I know you find it hard to believe sometimes,
Yep.
but it's not a perfect world. So has it met what we've asked? Then we have to either approve it
Mm-hmm.
or disapprove it. If we approve our part, then it goes on and the others have to do or do not. We don't know when it goes to the planning board for a site plan what they will come up with. We just have to look
Absolutely.
at
Are
them.
those questions that you brought up about maintenance, if going forward was presented to the other boards, is that something that they would take into consideration as much as we do, or as far as a maintenance, and because it has to do with the property and it has to do with,
I don't
I'm just wondering if they will,
I don't believe so, because I did look at zoning for this also, and the only, because this does really have to do with the effectiveness of recharge of the aquifer, I think it falls pretty squarely onto us. We do have that strange situation where there's a zoning bylaw about aquifer, and then there's our regulation, where we're the special permit granting authority for both. So, I mean, yeah, if we weren't, if the bylaw didn't read the way it does now, where it says that we are special permit granting authority for the bylaw as well, I would say, yes, zoning will also look at it. But I can't see why they would, because they have delegated that
But-
responsibility to us.
Who protects the public health? Look under the Mass Department of Public Health. It's the Board of
That's
Health.
Board of Health, absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Yeah, it is.
has it met what we asked? Are we protecting that aquifer? Doesn't matter whether we think the project shouldn't go forward, we don't like it, we do like it. Are we protecting the aquifer? Has he given us everything we've asked for to protect the aquifer? That's our job.
Right, and that's where the big if comes
I think
in my mind.
All the calculations and all the data that was reviewed by a town engineer says that it will.
And compliance.
We can't predict what people are gonna do in
No,
the future. We can't.
absolutely, you
On
can't.
any-
I
on
understand
any
that.
project
People
in
flush
town.
down the toilet for a septic design, you just
No,
don't
you can't.
know.
No,
You
you
have
can't.
to trust in the
you
fact that all these upfront calculations are, in essence, very conservative. Which means it allows for human error in the essence of taking care of these things. So there is, in all this treatment in the ground, you know, EPA says 2 feet is sufficient, but Massachusetts requires 4 feet. So, I mean, everything is doubled down in a sense, that it is ultra conservative, especially in Massachusetts at the state level. I can speak from experience on that.
Sure you can.
So I think there is a safety human element built into the conservativeness in which these calculations are produced. And I hope the board agrees.
Any more?
I don't think so.
So I'll be looking for a motion.
Well, my motion would be, actually, there may be another option. If I make a motion, the motion would be to deny the special permit. However, before we get to that point, if you'd like to explore, I don't know what other towns have done, what other projects have done, where, you know, there's there's an aquifer protection issue, and there are, this operation and maintenance plan, the outcome of the actual maintenance activities, what have other towns done in terms of, have they required that some report be provided to them? If you'd like to take more time and do more research to see what you can do on those grounds that might make us more comfortable.
I can simply
Yeah,
speak.
that's an
we went
option.
through I personally went through with another client in Littleton, in an industrial site,
Mhm.
within their aquifer protection area. We had to go for a special permit with them
Yeah,
for a parking lot for this industrial building, in which we did similar things, which we sheet flowed all of the surface runoff of that parking area
yep,
to a 4-bay structure, which is open stone and grass.
yep,
And the only really main thing that they required of us is that there is, at a point of overflow, it was flowing into another drainage system that was already in place. And in the case of a spill on the industrial site, they had a slide gate that went in the pipe, but that was an industrial site, not a residential site.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it was well approved because, again, it met
Yeah.
all of the drainage standards that were in place. And then the maintenance is sweeping the parking lot and making sure that the grass is growing properly and that the structure's working. Again, and that's on a much higher risk of traffic with industrial trucks coming and going, bringing chemicals. And this is a residential site. This is
yeah,
not something that's hidden either. It's right on Main Street. So, I mean, it's going to be highly visible. If it's not working, it's going to be known pretty quick, probably by DPW. So, because they're going to see the brunt of it on the road. Again, we're saying nothing's going out into the right-of-ways. Everything's on site. So, again, there has to be some trust in the sense that the math works, the engineering works.
I have no doubt that the engineering works. It's, I have great faith in the engineering. It really is the human element. The only
I would leave it at everything.
yeah, I know. The only other thing that I would add is that we are special permit granting authority for the zoning bylaw. The one piece that is in the zoning bylaws in general that is not in ours, because ours is not a bylaw, but perhaps we should ask this or explore this, is what is the hardship that makes you unable to meet?
Is that under the zoning board of appeals?
Yes,
Okay,
that's under the
that's
zoning
their-
bylaw.
For the zoning board of appeals, that's their definition.
That is their definition.
Right. We
However,
don't-
But this is the Board of Health.
let me
right.
just, exactly. That is the zoning ZBA definition. What we are doing when we grant the special permit is both granting the special permit against our regulation. We are also the SPGA for that zoning bylaw,
Okay.
which I think would mean that we would have to look at,
I have sat before the
the
zoning
zoning.
board of appeals.
Yeah.
And I can try to simplify this for you.
okay,
There's a level called a finding.
yep,
This is the lowest level, which is, okay, let's go to ZBA, make sure that whatever we're doing, adding on to our house, meets zoning.
Yeah.
That's the simplest.
yeah,
Then there's a special permit,
yep,
which says within their guidelines, you're able to meet these things, and can you prove that you meet these X, Y, and Z? And then there's variance, which is the highest level, which is very, very hard to get because you have to prove a hardship. So a variance, special permit, and a finding. So we're in that category of special permit. We're not asking for a variance. We're meeting your rules.
okay.
We're not asking
Yep,
for a
I see what you're
variance.
saying, I do see what you're saying, yep.
So a hardship falls clearly under the category of variance, which I don't believe we're asking for a variance in this situation.
Yep, I see
Okay.
what you're saying, yep.
And I think too, one of the reasons that boards of health adopt regulations are that we can enforce those bylaws, have to go to town meeting, and whoever
Oh, yeah,
shows
yeah, I
up,
know. Yeah,
all one group can
Yeah,
come and
yeah.
you get them passed, and then afterwards you say, these are the worst bylaws going, but that's true, in any community. But ours
Yeah,
are regulations to protect the aquifer. Hasn't met everything because I think we've talked it to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that we need to, think about for ourselves is, we do have, within our bylaw, we have violation fee schedule. So what I would imagine would happen if we grant this permit is the permit would be granted contingent upon this operation and maintenance plan becoming part of the deeds that are going to follow the condos.
But I don't think that's our purview. Our purview is, have they met everything
And
for
this
our
is,
regular?
and this is part of it.
Well, but
This is part of it.
you keep mentioning deeds, and we're either granting a special permit for this project or not, and then getting into deeds, I don't know that,
This, we have to, and maybe it's us that needs to do the homework then, if we're going to vote to approve this. This operation and maintenance plan has to be associated with the permit to ensure that it's clear to whoever, buys the properties or forms this association,
and
that
until
this
it
was
does,
one
it's
of the
zero.
conditions.
Mhm.
So it has to go along with the special permit.
That's
It
fine.
has to be a condition
That's
of the
understood.
special permit.
It's in the file.
Now, we do have a violation fee schedule if they're found in violation of any part of the regulation, which would be in violation of this, we can fine. Who would be the enforcement officer for checking up on this and actually doing the fining? Who would we envision actually reviewing and confirming that the OMP has been executed?
Well, I would say it would be the building inspector.
Would it fall into, well,
I mean, we just haven't, we've
Yeah,
granted
I don't know.
special permits in the industrial area, but was in our zone 2. We've done it in some
Yep.
residential.
Yep.
And we've never had a problem with anything, and this is in a residential. We've never said, okay, we did one down closer, if you remember, a couple of years ago.
Absolutely.
And we didn't ask for anything as far as the manual they gave, they
No,
came
because-
before us.
Their project did not require the type of, I guess I would say mitigations that are being applied here, the effectiveness of which are underpinned by something like a maintenance plan being properly
They had a
executed.
maintenance-free recharge system?
They were.
They didn't have a recharge system.
That
as I
was
recall.
actually a project that was right closer to the water.
Yeah, it was closer to the water. It was not 41%.
They asked for this.
Impervious surface.
That's something that they require.
So,
Again,
I don't know. I mean, I guess
clearly
that's,
states the operation and maintenance, but it's up to the property owner. And
Mhm.
then if then it goes to a condo association, we're saying that's the goal of this project.
Mhm.
It lies in their
Yeah.
hands. If it's
Okay.
noticeable that it's
Well,
not
you-
being taken care of, then there's a contact for
Yeah.
that. Then the assessor's gonna know who owns the property. It's quite in the system.
And again,
We're not gonna
if your
slide through the
concern
cracks.
is that this is not being followed, we have a lot of resources. We have
Yeah,
the
Board of Health
building
agent.
inspector, we have our health agent, we have the town engineer, another very bright young man I like.
DPW.
That's what I mean, he works under this, so I think we have a lot of resources.
yeah, I'm looking to see enforcement agent shall be the Board of Health.
Mhm.
Situations that require remedial action to prevent adverse impact. Town of Ayer, the building inspector, the Board of Health, or any of their agents may order.
But let me ask this, I mean, if things were to start to fail, what is the immediate impact in that sense? I mean, the maintenance is making sure that it's receiving the water and it's being infiltrated. You're gonna
That's
see
right,
signs
so
of
if
ponding,
things-
so if it's starting to fail, it's gonna pond up, and it's not going to be draining through. That's gonna be pretty obvious.
Or it's going out into the street and
Which is gonna
going
be-
into the sewers, which I honestly don't think a condo owner is gonna care about. As long as there's no water accumulating in their basement or their garage.
Well, I think they're gonna see it. Everything on the site is staying on the site, so if they're gonna see effects, it's gonna stay on site, so.
And
Unless-
what's interesting is the water garden is actually only dealing with just the driveway,
That's right.
where the majority of the drainage area is using the infiltration trenches, which have far less, fewer maintenance,
Contaminants.
and they're
Fine.
they're
Fine.
incredibly porous.
I actually feel better about those than I do about the rain garden. I feel better about the trenches than I do about the rain garden.
And it's true, if you were to, what I know about what we've done and how it was designed by the engineers, that information they use, I don't fully understand, but I do know this. I do know that we've made this site, again, and I'll say it, more permeable than it was before. There's guidelines that we follow that you've asked us to, we've come back 4 or 5 times, and we presented them. Along with it accompanies the maintenance regime. There's plenty of room for both human error and catastrophic storms. And we're not saying that's where we want to go, but that we've put ourselves in a position to make this a project that we feel you should accept and be comfortable with some minor risks involved. It's inevitable, but we don't know what else to do. We've done it, and it's really, if this was presented to any other set of engineers and they looked at this, I think they'd say, slam dunk. This is what we approve every day, and we're happy the way you've done it because it's more than what we did expect. And I think that's where we're at. And then the engineers who were here last week, which I wasn't, but I asked, my support person and my office manager, where were we? And they were here. They said their piece. We're even in the process of addressing the next step.
What's the dimension between the outer edge of the rain garden and the street?
10 feet approximately.
10 feet. What's the length of the driveway?
About 20 feet, 25 feet from the
Then there's
front
no
of the
way,
structure to the property line.
there's no way that's 10 feet. The outer edge of the highest elevation of the rain garden and the street.
Now, you asked me you didn't say elevation, you said from the edge of the street, which is that dashed line,
Yeah,
to the rain garden is 10 feet. This is
it's
at
10
20
feet, okay. All right, gotcha. Now, this is where your property line runs, but it's paved, is what you're saying. It's paved to
You have to pave up to the
here.
edge of the road to the driveway. We are proposing high spot elevations at the property line in the pavement, so whatever
Yeah.
what raindrop lands off of our property is gonna go up to the street, because that's not our responsibility.
Yep, right. Yep, I
Lands
gotcha.
inside our property is going to the
That's
rain
248, the street is at 248.
And again, your engineer
248.4.
fine tooth comb this whole thing, so not to take away your studying of it, but that was his role in this, is to study every inch every raindrop that hits that property where it goes.
Okay, so we're kind of going around in circles.
I know.
So
Yeah.
at that point, I am making a motion that we regrettably deny the special permit on the grounds that I do not believe that the let's put it this way. I believe that the engineering that was done on the plans for things like recharge trenches and such are fine. It's on the grounds that relying on this OMP does not, to me, constitute definite and credible information to support a positive finding. And reliance on the OMP is critical because that is what underlies the engineering
Who wrote the
that's in the
OMP?
plan. You gave it to us, I don't know.
Our office prepared it.
And it's within the state,
It
Massachusetts
was
State
also
Water.
reviewed by your town engineer. So
Yep, it was.
So it was the DPW head.
he had that same copy as,
Yeah.
Yep,
along with our drainage calculations
Okay.
and our design.
Well, when you say the town engineer, we're referring to two different people. Same
yeah.
Same
department, but Mark Wetzel,
Correct.
the DPW superintendent
He was
was
provided
here.
all that information,
Right.
he was
Right.
satisfied with
Yep.
all of it and did not have any comments as to the operation of maintenance.
Those are your resources. Those are your professional and technical resources.
And we also do have a town engineer,
Okay.
Dan Benson. I'll murder his name, so
Then I,
it's a long name.
whoever was here last week,
We
confirmed
call
what we
him Dan
provided was
Van Ness,
adequate.
but
Yep, and that none of that is what I have a quarrel with. I believe that if this OMP is executed to a T as it's described, it properly supports the engineering that goes into things like the recharge trenches and the rain garden. My only concern is that I don't think that essentially turning over a portion of the aquifer compliance to a condo association constitutes definite and credible information. It just doesn't meet my level of expectation for this. I'm only one vote. But that's my motion, so.
So if I'm, and this has gone on so long after 2 meetings, so if I'm clear on this, all the questions have been answered to your specification, but the reason you want to deny it is that you don't feel the condo association is going to manage this operation management.
It's not so much that I don't think they're going to. I think that there is too much of a risk of them not doing it, considering that that risk balances against the aquifer. I'm saying if I have to err on the side of caution one way or the other, I'm erring on the side of making sure that the aquifer is protected.
And I don't think that anybody wants anything to happen to the aquifer. We're a small town.
No,
We have
I
2
know that.
aquifers in 2 spots. We have another one that's surrounded by a lot more than what's going to be here. But I guess I'm having a problem with your reason for wanting to deny this.
I understand totally where you're coming from.
I understand what
underst-
she's saying.
I
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
it, but I think we have to think of what our role is
Mhm.
right now in this moment, given the fact that all of this has been, how many times they've come to us.
Yep.
And improved it each time. We can't predict the future. And I wish we had, me being new to the board, another example of something similar to this. I know that you talked about the place in Littleton, which isn't the same, but kind of is. I wish we had something to compare it to where where something like this went on and people were concerned about the future. Is that something that we take into consideration to give this permit? Are we supposed to, are we overthinking it? And is it that big of a risk? Yes, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I have to go back to thinking, what is our role
Mhm.
in this moment?
Mhm.
And I understand the risks that you're talking about, because God forbid if, like 5 years from now, something does happen.
Yeah,
But is
Yeah.
that something that we, to make the decision tonight, is that something that we have to take into consideration?
well, it's not necessarily a 5 years. It could be 6 months after, you know, after everything is built out. I'm not saying that this is going to take a long time to accrue. This is why I asked you this, Mary, earlier. We don't define, as far as I can tell in here, whether we need a unanimous vote of the board or not. Is there something in some other Board of Health, manual of procedures or anywhere that would?
Not that I remember or ever heard of, and I've been on the board for 11 years.
And do you recall, because it seems like what we're heading towards here are 2 votes for and 1 vote against. So,
Not that I don't.
No, I
totally agree
We
with what you're
understand.
saying as
Yeah.
far as the protection goes. But I'm trying to think of exactly what to do in this moment, given the
Yeah.
guidelines
Yeah.
and given all the stuff that they've given us. Did they pass all of that? Have they passed that test? Have they given
Yeah.
us all the numbers that match up? Yeah.
yep. Yeah, I
I
understand what you're saying.
can understand what they're saying too about not being able to predict the future.
Yeah, I know that.
But we
I know
do
that.
have, as Mary said, we do have resources to make sure that things like this that we're worried about don't happen. We just have to figure out who is in charge of that. Is it the building inspector?
Well,
Is it the DPW?
We do.
Is it things like that?
Well, I think for one thing, let's say that we give him the permit, he does all the project, and he doesn't sell one of them, so they're there. Maybe he sells just
But that's not
one.
for, that's not for us
but
to
what-
worry about.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is, it's his responsibility then. If we go by the property and we say, whoa, ho, 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 he's the owner, then he's the man that gets fined.
That's true. That's absolutely correct. Another thing to just consider is that if this sort of plan that really is kind of relying on this operation and maintenance plan is acceptable in this lot, it is equally acceptable in every other lot within the Aquifer Protection District. Are we comfortable with that?
And let's hope that every
And
site
why-
gets designed like this, because that's why I'm saying, you brought us to a point and it's over, it's there. And if that's the precedent you establish, you've won.
So it's just another consideration that we have to look to the future to some degree in understanding that what we do here and how comfortable we are with trusting, delegating the effectiveness of protections for the aquifer to things like condo associations. If you do it for one property, it has to be equally available to all properties in the aquifer.
And why wouldn't it be?
I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm just saying, let's think about whether that's something that we want to do. And if we do, then does our building inspector eventually get to the point where, every week he's got 40 different properties he has to go to
Well,
look at their OMPs and make
First
sure
of
that they're
all,
being
I don't
done?
think we have that much land in our aquifer to worry about redeveloping.
Look at how many lots are right here in this little inset.
There's not that much available land. Somebody might be, I don't know, putting a garage on, but as to have a big piece of property to worry about a lot of lots.
You had a question?
I don't know if I'm allowed to speak because
You-
you're in the matter of motion or whatever.
Go ahead. Well, we didn't second that
Okay,
motion,
fair
so
enough.
go ahead, Neil.
I try to simplify these infiltration structures. They're filters.
Mhm.
Filters are designed to collect bad things and let the good things through. Whether it's a filter in your car, your air conditioner at home, there's general maintenance for them to work properly.
Yep.
We've put those things in place. Again, the conservative nature in which these things are designed or to factor in that if they're doing their job, that they are to get clogged at some point.
Mhm.
That's their role, that's what they're supposed to do, especially the rain guards. So again, the maintenance plan is in place to remind everybody that these things are filters and that they need to be maintained. This is how you do it. And there is no maintenance-free program. This one is the least exposed. If you go with the porous pavement under the driveway, those things are under the driveway, you're gonna have to rip everything up and start over.
Yep.
Which is more costly and more ineffective in the long run than the rain garden, in our opinion. Yes, we know they're filters. The majority of the filters are coming off the roof, which aren't gonna carry anything that's really gonna clog them. It's just a matter of recharging the water properly for the protection of the water district. You couldn't ask for a more perfect site without groundwater issues. I could understand if it was high groundwater, there'd be a problem.
Mhm.
We can bury these things in the ground and we still have the natural, Mother Nature's earth treating that water even after it goes through what we put in the ground.
Yep.
Which is more than satisfactory for even cleaning sewage, never mind just runoff from a roof in a driveway, which is far less contaminant in many cases than sewage. That's all, thank you.
Good points. They're all good points.
Okay, Trish, would you want to make a motion?
Oh, man. I understand both sides of this. I think it's
It is
our
tough.
role, given everything that they've given us, and it's up to snuff. I think we have to give them the permit. I understand the concerns about the OMP, and that's probably something that we can discuss more
Mhm. Yep.
and put into place and really look at it, and then that's something down the road that can be decided who is supposed to do that. I make a motion that we grant the permit.
Okay, and I will second that. So it's moved and seconded that we grant the special permit for 41 East Main Street. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, the nays?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2-1. Neil, what we'll do is, this has been 2 long meetings, our administrative
Yes.
assistant is out sick tonight, so we'll get everything typed up, et cetera, and we'll get all the
So
information.
Mr. Sater, know when it's ready. And,
Yeah,
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, really do.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful.
and we appreciate all the information. You've
Yes,
given.
thank you very much. And best of luck with the project.
Thank you.
And you said you did give Jane the corrected OMP, right? With
I
the
believe we-
address.
they
Did that
got
change
the-
the date also, or?
I think you got a copy, didn't you?
I
Didn't you
believe
hand
the
you
new one
tonight?
says,
I gave that to
Does the
you.
new
Oh.
one say August?
Oh, this
I think.
That one.
This
say
one
October.
says October.
October with the
Oh, October, okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah, so you'll know which one's right.
Okay, then, yeah,
Oh,
that's the
no,
one.
this one says 44.
The old one says 44,
Well,
right?
this is the one I.
Oh, is it in the text too?
Oh,
Just change the top-
41,
At the top.
it's on the
It says
top.
41 at the top, down here.
Yeah.
it just
No,
says-
I'll get
Ah,
you.
okay.
I'll get you a
Okay.
most up to date one. I
That's
didn't
all
see
right.
it.
Actually, is the rev of the plan that's down here the correct one too? Revised July 22nd. There was
There's a more recent one.
yeah, there is
I'll
a
correct both
more
of
recent,
those
yeah,
for you.
so if you can just
Okay.
correct that spot
And we
too.
thank you.
Thank you, have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay, in view of the late hour.
Good job, ladies. Good job.
Well, I know. But I.
That was the democratic process at its best. It really was.
I know, but it's like, it is so hard, it really
Well,
was,
it
but you
is-
have to keep
Yeah.
thinking, what is your role?
That's-
Yeah, I
And
know.
I feel like, I really think we should look at that, not just because of this project, the OMP, that's an important thing.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
has to be looked at,
Yeah, well, that's the next step, is how it,
how it's gonna
Um,
be, played out and how it's gonna be, how people are gonna do
Yeah.
things. So that was,
no, I know where you're coming from. I have no hard feelings. I know
Yeah,
exactly
it's
where you're
hard,
coming
but
from.
I do
Yeah.
think that everything, and Neil was very good.
He was,
what
yeah.
is Neil's
yeah.
last name? Did I have it on the,
It's in the minutes.
Is it in the earlier minutes?
I don't know if it's in the minutes of the 26th. It's
Yeah.
in the minutes.
I'm sorry.
She did not get the minutes.
I think
for the
Jane
3rd.
Knows because she's been
Okay.
talking and
Okay.
corresponding with
And it
him.
was probably in all the information
I'll
we
look back.
had at the last.
I suspect I wrote it down
No,
somewhere
he
at
was
some
very-
point.
He was very thorough.
I think
and
it's,
Yeah,
is it Nor?
I'll find it.
Yeah,
I
we
might-
will.
I might have
we won't get it
written
No, I
right if
think
we
they
try.
were very thorough, and I think that, the other thing that kept coming up,
Neil Gorman.
Gorman, okay.
That's right. I
G-O-R-M-A-N.
remember him saying
The
that.
other
Yeah.
thing that kept coming up was the DPW
Yep.
and had already looked at it, and their concerns had been met.
Yep.
I mean, they redid the whole thing, so that's probably, I'm beating a
And
dead horse
the
now.
good, the good thing is that one of the things, and I voted for it 12 years ago, and the Board of Selectmen just didn't do the will of town meeting, was a full-time building inspector. We have one.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, we do.
And I have confidence that he's going to do his job. So.
I do too.
Okay, so that is with, the next thing we have, and I think in view of the hour, that we should
Oh my
just.
gosh, it's 7 already?
Mm.
Oh, this is a new one. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, this is in Bridget Brady's stuff, and she review deadline, and it says Board of Health, permit sought. All alcohol on premise liquor license, applicant seeking to establish bar room, no food service, where the current hair salon exists. Keith Layton, DBA The Revival Pub,
I saw something about
25
that.
Main Street.
Yeah.
So, the Owen Jacobs Salon?
I don't know.
Next to Union Coffee.
No, it's right
No.
in where the Union Coffee Roaster
In
is.
there?
Is that where the hairdresser used to be?
Okay, what Bridget wrote is,
Oh,
a
okay.
bar is considered food service. Plans will need to be submitted for the bar area. She signed this today, so
Okay.
she's going forward on that. So
Okay.
that's the first thing.
They're getting a full,
It says
Yeah,
A
it would
bar.
be full liquor,
bar.
I
I
guess.
didn't think we had any left in this town. I thought they had,
I think there might be one left that someone has but isn't using.
And
Okay.
there's different types too. There's full service restaurants.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
beer and wine, and it's all
Yeah.
different. You have to look at everything.
There's something at the town meeting about expanding
That's another
That-
issue.
Right, that's
to
for,
go
that's
with
for
the
a packy,
state.
yeah.
Yeah.
Adding another packy.
Okay. And let's see. And she has all this license stuff here, and the form. Okay, so that's that. Certainly. And then she's doing the renewals, as she told us
Yeah.
last time, the renewals that are going,
Yeah,
yearly renewals.
the annual, yeah.
Yeah. And then she sent a letter, because remember we had a call about trash on Highland Avenue?
Yep,
And so she sent a letter to them, housing violation, and it's 43 Highland Avenue. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Noonan, the Ayer Board of Health received a complaint regarding trash on your property, couches and other miscellaneous debris. The complaint was investigated from the road on October 13th, and the conditions cited in the complaint was verified. She cites the code and gives them 7 days.
okay.
Then, let's see, she did the, as far as, again, Wendy's, and the only thing she said is a need for allergy awareness training.
Oh, that's not bad.
One thing
Okay.
she did tell me today, a person had come in and she's familiar with the owner seeking to 210 West Main Street.
Yep,
Yeah, where Empire City was and
Mm-hmm.
various people in there.
yep.
That there's an Asian bakery.
Really?
That's what the woman said, and she said that she had
Interesting.
the key to the building, and Bridget said, wait a minute, you have the key from the owner. You don't have your permits yet. We have a process. You have to do the plan here with me.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to get your common vic license. So
Right,
she has
Okay,
told her
she's on top of
everything, but
that.
that's just a
Okay.
heads up
Okay,
that that's coming. And I think that's
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
kind of pretty much, we've had so many in and out of that place there. Yeah.
I know,
Yeah,
I
so-
know.
The old Chinese restaurant, right?
Yep, yeah.
It's used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll wait and see. I haven't heard any more about the building that we heard may become a sushi here on Main Street.
I didn't hear this. What?
Oh,
Sushi? On Main Street?
Where they were going to have the flatbread.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that,
It's been
there's,
sitting
well,
so
there's
long.
talk that the building is in the process of being sold. Whether it's been completed yet or not, or anything, I don't know, but that was the last thing we
Oh,
heard.
sushi would be wonderful.
So, that's pretty much that.
Okay.
And again, I can give the quarterly meeting next time if you want, in view of the late hour.
That's fine, yeah.
You know, I think things
Yeah.
are going pretty good there. They
Yeah.
still haven't done anything with the, that OPEB, the retirement stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's still,
So, the one thing that we did have here, and you probably got it in your packet, and at first I didn't know what the
Yeah.
heck it was about, and it was the
it's this,
Region 2 Steering Committee.
yep,
So what we need to do is, Kayleen and Kayleen Gendron and Ira Grossman have been representing the Neshoba Associated Board of Health at the meetings.
yeah,
So we need to vote to have them as our representatives. That way, whichever one goes, they can take a vote for this area. At first, I wasn't sure what she was talking about because we have our own regional planning here in town. You know, I
yeah.
sit on that committee with
Yeah,
every 2
yeah.
months, and we are well prepared, I can
Yeah.
tell you, well prepared for any type of emergency. We have more cots, more blankets, more supplies, shelter places, lists,
Yeah,
generators, everything. We are, for anybody that's watching, we are extremely well prepared, and the fire chief
Good.
is the head of emergency planning, as he should be.
This is
because
the
it's 24 hours.
overall Region
This
2
is the
steering
Region
committee.
2, right,
Got
so they have the monthly meetings, either Ira or Kayleen goes.
Yeah.
We want to,
Yeah.
if anything happens, they can vote for us.
Yeah.
I can tell you from talking with the fire chief, as far as applying for grants, and I did learn this at the executive board too, there's so many hours and so much information now to apply for any of these grants that are available, that sometimes it's almost not worth the effort to get $2,500.
Yeah.
I know what we've put through here and how much that the fire chief has done when we've got them, because we've had a lot of damage in a storm, and, you know,
Yeah.
you've had people out, and it sometimes is close to a year before you're getting the money back, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'd like a motion to have either
Yeah.
Ira or Kayleen.
Yep, I will. Well, are they asking us to appoint both of them so
Well,
that one or the
they-
other can?
Well, to put both of them, because sometimes Kayleen can go,
Okay,
sometimes
okay.
Ira, so whichever one can go, we want them to be able to vote and represent us.
Okay. So I will make a motion that we appoint Kayleen Gendron and Ira Grossman as Ayer's representative for the Region 2 Steering Committee.
Okay, so it was moved and seconded to appoint either Kayleen Gendron and Ira Grossman to the Region 2 Steering Committee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's approved. And then, if anybody has looked at the
Yep.
minutes, the only thing and we can just correct it very easy. I think you have to, when we're referring to Patricia, she goes by Tricia, but just see down the bottom where it says T. Peters, I would just put that in, just make it a P.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Okay, then I will move that we accept the meetings of September 26th with that correction.
Okay, it was moved and seconded to approve the minutes of September 26th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and it was just that one, okay, so we'll just make that right here. There are no bills.
No bills. I wish I could say the same.
Pretty much have looked at the mail, so,
There you go.
done. Okay, thank you. So I think, we can, you don't have anything as far as, Shepley's, and you've got a meeting coming up. in
No, and I
November.
actually wasn't sure why she had continuation.
I didn't think so either, and she said, I thought Pam had some information. I said, I don't think so.
No,
I think
we
what-
have the meeting coming up that we're gonna
Exactly.
go
Well,
to together.
I thought so too, and I said, no, I think you're confused, so I said, well, if you feel comfortable, put it on there if that's
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah, that's
concerned
fine.
about.
And that's on the 3rd, so we'll be, we will both be attending the meeting on the 3rd of November, so we can do an update at our next meeting, which is November 14th?
Right.
Wow.
Well, remember, we had, I know.
I know, because the
We had
town
the
meeting
two,
and, yeah.
So
yeah.
close together, and then
Yeah.
we have we had the holiday, and then we have town meeting coming up.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, it works.
And then, of course, with elections and everything, so we have the 2 meetings.
I know.
And then we generally have 1 meeting in December,
Yeah, right.
because it's.
Because even when we
schedule.
schedule one, we end up canceling
Yeah,
it.
well,
That's-
I think the last few
Yeah.
years, we've just had the 1.
Yeah, I think that works out a little
I
better.
do too. So, I think that is, let's see. I think we've pretty much hit everything unless,
Okay.
and what would you say for the next meeting? Well, we're gonna have the minutes. And I'm just going to ask her, she left me a thing here to sign for Iron thing, but the way it was put, it said Air Board, and then it said Health over here, so I'm just.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. just
Clarity,
format
just
it.
ask
Yeah,
her to
yeah.
retype that up. So the next thing,
Well, I think next one, if you want to give a more in-depth
on the
update.
quarterly meeting,
Yeah, on the
I would
quarterly.
like to do that, yeah,
We will have Shepley's that we can
that's right,
co-report
that's
on.
right.
What I don't catch, Trish
Exactly.
will, and what she doesn't catch, I
Exactly.
will.
And what I was very, Jane left me a note and said, Colleen can't make the meeting. And I said, well, I wasn't aware that Colleen Purdy needed to be on our agenda. And she apparently received an email and said, I won't be able to make the meeting. So I advised her, she dropped off the stuff and then left because she's not feeling well. And I said, well,
Oh, okay.
if she wants to be on our agenda, she needs to tell you why
Mm-hmm, yeah.
and then bring it before me, because as far as I'm concerned, I think we
Yeah, she
hashed
should be
out
on for,
everything,
yeah,
yeah,
she should be on for a particular
for a
issue.
reason,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement on
Yep.
that. So
yeah, I agree with that.
I think that, so like I say, for next time, we'll have the sets of minutes. I'll do an in-depth on the quarterly meeting. You, 2 of you are going to attend Shepley's
Yep.
meeting, and that's good because I haven't heard anything else with regards to anything, and I know if there was something that Laurie or Julia would have
Yeah,
notified
Yeah,
us, because
yeah.
they're pretty good on that. So I think that gives us pretty much what we
Yeah, I
need
think so.
for the next meeting, so.
and then tobacco, maybe should we do an update on,
Well, those need to go out.
yeah,
They'll be going out, and I think,
those are December 31st?
yeah,
that they're
if
good
they don't
through?
have
Okay.
their new certificates, they can't
Yeah,
sell
that's pretty
anything.
cut and dried, yeah.
It is, and you
Yeah.
know what? We haven't had any violation with any of.
Yeah,
our
and
people.
everybody renews,
They-
yeah.
Everybody
yeah,
renews,
Yeah,
and then the trash hauler regs, well, they have to get their new ones,
Yep.
they have to do, and those have to go out.
Yeah,
So I did
yeah.
tell her we'll have to look and probably, she may just have to stay in the office, close the door, and bang out this
Yeah,
stuff. Because
yeah,
sometime when
exactly.
even if it means
I
that she
know.
stays a little later some night,
Yeah.
that has to be done, and we gotta
Yep.
get caught up. And-
Yeah, it does, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and then we can think of probably what we want to put in the town report, and that'll come up the first of the
Yeah,
year.
that's true, yeah, yeah.
But again, I
Yeah.
think the new trash hauler regs is something this is
Yeah,
the first year
yeah.
to see how they went. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't
exactly,
heard of any
yeah.
violations yet, so, anything. So, with all that, it's 7:20, I'll take, unless anybody has anything else, I'll take a motion.
I will move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to adjourn at 7:20. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.